and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom, and this is going to be my 10 worst movies of 2020. So 2020, a little bit of an unusual year, certainly for pretty much everything, but for cinema we had a lot of the major films be pushed to later on down the line because of the virus. So we certainly didn't get as many mainstream films come out this year as we would normally. Now, my lists tend to be less mainstream anyway, because I don't see a huge amount of mainstream films because I'm so busy watching B movies. But this, again, like the top 10 list, it's the same sort of thing here. There was actually a couple of larger scale movies on this list. Like I said, these films, like I've said with the first list I did, the ones I liked, this is a list of movies that I personally don't really enjoy. Some of these movies, I can be objective when I'm reviewing them and thinking, oh, I didn't give that necessarily a bad review. And there are some things that I will review films, and I think they're objectively good or bad. But there are certain films that, even though I might like or dislike them, my personal feelings, how much I enjoy them, may be a little bit different to how my kind of critical brain likes. So I can critically say a film is good, but I don't really enjoy it. But I can see how it's a well-made film for that, etc. And vice versa. There are some films here that I think critically might be, quite bad, but I still enjoy them for one reason or another. So this list is going to be movies that I really struggled to sit through and were just kind of quite painful to watch. Although, if you watch some of these reviews, I may have said some positive things about them. But nonetheless, these are just films that I just really didn't like on a personal level. So let's get started, shall we? Number 10, The Haunting of Margam Castle. A low-budget British movie based on a real apparent kind of haunted castle. We have, since I've been doing this channel, I've learned a little bit about the film industry, and sad to say that I've learned that a lot of films are just banged out very quickly, purely to make a little bit of money each. So the mindset of some filmmakers is to bang out loads of cheap horror films, make a small profit on each, rather than making a better one and trying to aim for a bigger profit. So, and I think this movie is one of these sort of films, a movie that was knocked out pretty quickly, but it's just very dull, low budget, clearly made very cheaply and quickly. It's, like I said, this is number 10, so there's certainly 9 movies that I enjoyed less than this, but it was just dull as dishwater, this one. Number 9, and this is one of the two maybe slightly bigger budget movies that are on this list, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Kevin Smith, who obviously populated Jay and Silent Bob, have to be honest with you, at this point in his career, he is averaging poorer films than good films, in my opinion. I think his early works, Kevin Smith did have his finger on the pulse of pop culture and that geek chic, if you know what I mean. And some of his films were quite amusing. This one was just rehashing old ideas. It was trying to take the piss of sequels, but it wasn't smart enough to do it. And it was quite painful to watch, to be honest with you. Again, this is one of the higher profile movies I have on the list, but certainly one of Kevin Smith's worst films, I'm gonna say. Anyway, let's move on. Number 9, New Mutants. This is the other bigger movie that I had on this list, and one of the few movies that went to cinema. The final nail in the coffin of the Fox X-Men franchise. This was meant to be a superhero horror film. It seems like a pilot to a mutant, TV show that doesn't go anywhere. It's just a bunch of kids sitting around in a not populated hospital with one member of staff. So many plot holes, just a load of crap, to be honest with you. Conjuring the Devil at number 7. None of one of these movies that is just a very cheaply made movie to cash in on the kind of the popularity of Conjuring franchise. This one has some weird elements to it, I'll say that. But it's just a cheesy movie that just is sometimes eye-rollingly bad. But at least I wasn't bored shitless like I was in Notzilla, NumberSix. This was a parody of the Godzilla movies. And some people do like this movie, I'll say that. But this is like a one-trick pony. It's like a spoof movie of the Godzilla films, and fun as it would be if it was a 5-minute sketch. But a movie of this gets tired real quick. If you really, really like Godzilla and really like that scary movie and all its sequels, you may like this film. But like I said, it wears out its welcome super quickly. Number 5, The Last Exorcist. This stars the very popular Danny Trejo, who is of course in practically every film these days, about the first female exorcist, and it's just a total dumpster fire, as they called. And yeah, it's just really the ending of this movie, where we have our final exorcism, so to speak. It doesn't make any sense. We have kung fu fighting exorcists. We have a woman who has to be the last exorcist, even though Danny Trejo is also a priest and experienced and is standing right there. It doesn't make any sense at all. There you go. Number 4, Amityville Island. How I mentioned before about kind of filmmakers whacking out loads of films just to kind of like turn a small profit on each, but spend absolutely bugger all time and money on these movies. Hello, the Polina brothers. One of them's passed away, R.I.P. It doesn't excuse crappy films like this, however. There seems to be like a new Polina movie every month, and they are absolutely garbage. Literally Plan 9 from Outer Space style kind of movies that are just, I mean, I like a bad B movie to a point. You know, I can appreciate low budget stuff, but this is just knocking out a load of old crap just to kind of like and putting a cool cover on it and hoping people are buying it, and it'll make them $5,000 or something that they can pay for the $2,000 that they spent on the film, and woohoo, everyone gets $100 each, because that's what it feels like. Number 3, A Dark Path. This was a movie that goes literally nowhere. It goes down a dark path and stays there, about 2 sisters that get stuck in Eastern Europe in the woods somewhere, and there's a monster lurking around. There is no plot in this movie. Half the movie is these sisters kind of bickering before they get to this, and then we just randomly have a monster which we know nothing about, and then it's just kind of like running around in the dark for a little bit. Oh, Jesus. So doing this YouTube channel is painful sometimes. Anyway, number 2, Verotica. Glenn Danzig. He tries his hand at filmmaking, bless him, and from what I understand, he does not understand why this film did not get very good reviews. So it's clearly very self-indulgent, and this is an anthology movie with 3 bizarre films. Super low budget. Oh God, it's just like, why are you watching it? This doesn't make any sense. None of these films make sense. The first one is about this weird spider monster with mannequin arms that comes out of a woman's boob. Yeah, and then the second one's about a slasher who works in a strip bar. And then the third one is basically the kind of like the kind of rip-off of Elizabeth Bathory, which has no plot. It just is her doing her thing. Rubbish. And number 1, 5G Zombies. Now, this is a film that was obviously rushed out to try and kind of capitalise on the conspiracy theorists that 5G was somehow responsible for the coronavirus. And it's essentially a hastily put together kind of anthology movie where people are in isolation, talking to the camera, and it's something to do with 5G or zombies. There's one film which was shot, nothing to do with this, that they just added in, which does have a little bit of, outside action, and it's to do with kind of mobile phones. The people who made that contacted me and said, we didn't make this for this anthology. It was just kind of picked up and bundled with it. But it's a no-budget movie made purely to cash in on conspiracy theory 5G zombies. A little bit like Corona Zombies. I never actually bothered watching them because that's just the kind of two movies that have been re-edited for one. This one is actually new footage at least, but it's just boring. Nothing happens, and just literally made for about $20. So there you go. They are movies that I absolutely struggled to sit through this year. If you were involved in any of these films, we seem to have these lists and someone watches them who is involved. I apologise. I'm sure someone out there likes them. It just isn't me. Anyway, have you seen any of these films and what did you think of them? Please check out my best of video if you haven't already. Thanks for watching and bye for now.